Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Before we begin this event, let us recite Surah Al-Fatiha. Welcome to the Economics and Management Sciences Society Presidential Forum. My name is Alyssa Mohammed, final year business administration student, and I will be your moderator for tonight's event, which will be divided into 3 sections. The first section of this event will comprise of myself asking 3 questions to each candidate regarding their manifesto, where they will have 5 minutes to answer each question. So what will happen is I will be asking one of the candidates a question, and then I will give them 5 minutes to answer. And then within those 5 minutes, if they do not finish, time will be up and I will move on to the second question. And that will continue on for the 3 questions for the first candidate, as well as 3 questions for the second candidate. The second section of this event will comprise of the candidates asking 2 questions to their competitor. Each candidate will have 10 minutes to answer the questions asked of them. So what will happen is I will open the floor to to one of the candidates to ask a question to their opponent. Their opponent will have 5 minutes to answer the question, and then it will switch. So they will be the ones to ask a question to their opponent, and then they will have 5 minutes, and it will continue like that until both candidates have been able to ask 2 questions to the other. Now, in the third section of this event, I will be opening the floor to the audience for any questions you may have for them. Hence, while the debate is ongoing, you're welcome to visit the EMSS Instagram page and the speakers' corners for reference, as the candidates' manifestos are available on there. Along with that, we encourage you to type up any questions you may have in the chat box and on the YouTube live stream, so that I may be able to direct them to the respective candidates. With the flow of tonight's forum established, I'd like to set a couple of house rules. First, we encourage all members of tonight's session to turn on your cameras to promote interactiveness. However, the most important time to open your cameras will be at the very end when we have a short photography session. So stay tuned for that. And secondly, we ask all members of the audience to please keep your mics on mute in order to avoid any disturbances throughout the forum. This way, we may be able to hear the candidates as clearly as possible. Thirdly, when submitting your questions through the chat box, do remember to include who you would like to direct your question to in order to avoid any confusion. With that, I would now like to introduce the candidates of the EMSS Presidential Forum. First, we have Muhammad Hamirul Akbar bin Muhammad Lazi. He is a third-year student majoring in finance under the Department of Economics. He was a chairperson from 2020 to 2021 and a financial controller from 2019 to 2020 in the BECS Council and a member of the Akhi Club from 2019 to 2020. Outside of society work, he was an officer at Pusat Khidmat Rakyat Parlimen Johor Bahru, a financial controller for the 2020 BECS script writing competition, a secretary for the 2020 Student Welfare Aid by Congress IAUM, a volunteer for #FoodBankJB, and a council leader for 4 cross-functional bureaus representing economic students. His goals for this coming tenure are to develop a closer relationship between KENMS students and industry players, emphasize the welfare structure of the Kuliah to better cater to students, and to implement better overall governance and transparency. If he could describe himself in one sentence, it would be that he is a person who believes in good leadership, or who believes that good leadership can impact a whole generation. The second candidate I would now like to introduce is Neely Odsma Damia binti Muhammad Raslan. She is a second-year student majoring in general management under the Department of Business Administration. She is currently the head of media for Harmony IIUM. Within Harmony IIUM, she has also had a role of program manager for the Iman Pit Stop series for 2020 to 2021, and the role of program coordinator for the Undi 18 talk back in Harmony CFS for 2019-2020. For the academic year of 2020 to 2021, she was a subcommittee for the Education Office of IIUM SU and Sports Secretariat for EMSS, and a BRC for BRC Mahala Nusaibah. For the academic year of 2019-2020, she was the head of Pub Pro for MRC Mahala Aisha CFS, and outside of society work, she was part of the Ta'aruf Week Committee for the first and second intakes of CFS 2020-2021, and has experience emceeing and moderating for various events. Her goals for this coming tenure are to enhance the work system within the Kuliah and to increase employability of EMSS graduates. If she could describe herself in one sentence, it would be that she is a very critical person with good leadership skills. Now that we are acquainted with our candidates, I would like to begin asking our candidates about their manifestos, starting with Brother Muhammad Hamiral. Brother Hamiral, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm so ready about this.
Nice. Nice. All the best to both candidates. My first question regarding your manifesto is, how do you plan to, or this is regarding the first part of your manifesto, how do you plan to nourish the reputation of KNMS students against students of other universities, such as University Malaya and University Putra Malaysia's Putra Business School?
So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thanks for the moderator for today's event. It's a pleasure to have the platform to at least inform on my aspiration towards the next tenureship. So regarding what Sister Alisa have mentioned and have asked just now, how I personally to nourish IIUM student reputation if we want to compete with other university. First of all, Sister Alisa, I think it's important for you to at least be proud of IIUM student reputation right now, because it's not IIUM student also have some qualification to be competing with this top school, with this top university. Of course, University Malaya, University Putra Malaysia is one of the prominent university in the Malaysia. But of course, you cannot put IIUM aside, because I believe the student of IIUM, especially KNMS student, have the potential to be one of the leaders in our country in the next upcoming years, because all of us have the capabilities if we attack certain skills. If we have, based on my observation, that all of our students are clever. They are very clever. They are performing in their academic performance. But one thing that they are lacking of is their communication skill. Even Brother Saiful Reza from CCSC, I've asked him, and he already he mentioned that all of the students of IIUM have the capabilities, have the brilliant ideas in their mind, but that they cannot communicate and they cannot present their ideas to their future employer or to their future to their lecturer. So it's very important for us to nourish the KNMS student reputation in the eyes of or in the eyes of the industry players by improving their interpersonal skills. So when I mention interpersonal skills, it is relating to the communication skills between people. So one of my major mechanism in executing this manifesto is I want to improve and enhance student interpersonal skills, their communicating skill, how they talk to their employer, how they talk to their friends, how they talk to their lecturer, in order to transfer the information that they want to transfer. Okay, so I would like to add a report, a data from International Labour Organization ILO 2020. They have mentioned that the youth unemployment rate in Malaysia are increasing. Of course, COVID-19 also affects us because unemployment rate is increasing. We cannot deny that, but it cannot be an excuse for us to deny this negative thing. So one of the reason, based on my research and based on my talk with the alumni, so for information, Oh, so oh, so for you, I thought my internet was lagging, so that's why I'm stopping. So, so if you went to my talk with with two of the alumni of KNMS, Brother Mija, Sister Mija and Brother Anik, they have been working in the industry. Brother Anik have been working in Maybank in the finance sector. Meanwhile, Sister Mirza have working in the development area. They have mentioned that how important for them to have a good communication skill in order to survive, in order to compete with other graduates, other prominent graduates in other university. And at last, because of their good communication skill, they are able to survive there. So once again, I want to emphasize that in order for us to have a good, a competitive graduates.
Camille, you are out of time.
Okay, let me finish one sentence. So in order for
Okay,
us
last
to,
sentence.
okay, so in order for us to have a good and competitive graduates, it is important for us to attack the interpersonal skills, so it will benefit the student in their future. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your response. For your second question, this regards the second part of your manifesto. What is your plan to cater to the variety of physical and emotional issues within the student body, considering the distance between the students and the kuliah? You have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Sister Alisa, for the second question. So I believe, of course, there will be a challenge for us to cater the issue that the students are not in the campus. Some of students are not in the campus. So how we need to cater that? First of all, it is not impossible. Of course, it is challenging, but it's not impossible. So in order for us to solve the issue, first thing first, as you mentioned just now, we need to have a welfare centralized leadership. During this pandemic, I believe all of the students are struggling with the COVID-19 effect. So it is very important for us to have welfare centralized leadership in order to contact with other students who are not in the campus right now. I believe it is very important for us to have a good platform for them to at least expressing their concern and their issue. So I have discussed this issue during my IG live with Sister Dura. We have mentioned about how important for MSAS to act as a student leader, to act as a student representative in order to cater the students' need. In order for us to cater the online students, it is very important for us first to provide a good platform for them. What I meant is, of course, we have a virtual hotline. We have on a hotline before this, but I believe there's so much potential for us to improve that hotline in MSAS, because yeah, of course, the existence of hotline, maybe not all KNM students know about it, but it is important for us to at least providing a hotline so they can approach us whenever they want. Next is, I've mentioned also in the talk that I want to enhance or to have a fundraising system. Of course, we have a website. So our website has so much potential for us to endeavor. So in order to have a good financial, in order to use utilize the website, of course we need to have a fundraise in order to cater all of the costs that we want to cater the students. Maybe if the students want good internet connection in their hometown, they can ask for us. For example, they can ask a portable hotspot. I'm not sure what is the device name, but it is possible for us to provide them. So in order to help them in sustainable way, not only in short term way, in sustainable, so it is very important for us to help and cater, because these students have different needs. Maybe some students have different needs and demands, because we are not dealing with the students who are online in Malaysia. We are dealing with global community. We are dealing, maybe some of our friends are in India, some of our friends maybe in the US. So of course it's very hard. So different students need a different needs. So that's why I also propose for us to have a good survey a good data analytics platform for us to cater and to identify the right needs for each student. Of course, it is very hard to cater the individual needs, but at least we try our best to cater at least almost of of the community in KNMS. I think that's all for me. Yeah, this time I can I can follow the timeline.
Thank you, Hamiral, also for
Yeah.
maintaining punctuality. For my third question, how do you plan to inculcate a better sense of trust between the students and the administration of the Kuliah?
Oh, thank you for the question. So, how we can inculcate a better what?
A better sense of trust
Or a better
between
sense of
the
trust?
students and the Kuliah.
Okay, so MSAS, this is where MSAS should interact with the students and the kuliah. I believe during my experience in Bex Council, we have helped and cater all of the most of the issue that are happening in Bex Council. It is very important for the council in right now in the context right now is MSAS to become the middleman of between students and the kuliah. So, based on my experience, I have catered around, I'm not sure what is the exact number, but we have solved the issue of online internship of BEX Council. BEX Council have been providing platform, providing a good platform for the students and for the kuliah office to go and discuss together during maybe in Google Meet or Zoom. So that's why, based on our previous tenure, we already have town hall that have been existed before. So I believe this town hall should be a platform for them, at least whenever they want to raise their concern, whenever they want to raise their issue regarding their pre-registration, maybe the lecturer name is not available in their prereq. So this is the perfect platform for the students and the lecturer, or maybe in the officer in office, kuliah office, to cater and to discuss in in a proper way, so at least we can reach a good result and good understanding. So I believe, yeah, I only want to emphasize that MSAS should act as a representative, as a frontier of the students, to cater all of the needs of the students. Because when we talk about good governance, or a good sense of trust, it is important for us to have the trust of the students, because as we are fulfilling their needs, if we fulfill all their needs, then they will have some sense of trust that, okay, I can trust MSAS. So because MSAS can bring my voice to the kuliah office. So this is one thing that I want to emphasize. Thanks to the last tenure, they have made a good impact on this. But of course, we need to enhance and we need to improve in some perspective that maybe we can improve. I think that's all from me.
Thank you for your responses to my question, Hamiral. I will now turn the floor to our second candidate, Sister Neely Odsma, to answer a few questions I have about her manifesto. Neely, are you ready?
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. For my first question, I'd like to ask, how do you believe increasing the visibility of EMSS will encourage students to be more involved with EMSS activities?
Okay, Bismillah. So the question is asking about MSS's visibility, giving impact to the students' engagement, is it? So I think when we are reporting our daily activities, our current report on what we do, I guess it's actually gives a sense of trust to the students to believe in us, because we do show our work and we do show that we are actually conveying their concerns and complaints. It's just like the same as humans, I guess, when you are to get a sense of trust from another people, you must know their personalities, what is their current activities, their doings, just so that you can actually build the trust. And also engagement is really important to actually gain the trust of the students. The needs, the facilities, assistance, welfare must cater the students' needs so that they actually believe. Basically, just like increase the engagement for this with the students. I guess transparency, visibility. I think it's the same thing, which is very important to lead to increase the engagement with the students, and at the very end, inshallah, we will gain the trust from the students. I guess it answered your question.
Thank you, Neely, for your response. For my second question now, both you and Hamirul want to increase the employability of KENMS students. What is unique about your method of engaging with the industry compared to Muhammad Hamirul's method of engagement?
What is your, sorry?
What is unique about your method of engaging with the industry as compared to Hamirul's method of engaging with the industry?
All right. Okay. I actually posted a manifesto breakdown on my social media. So there's like few difference and uniqueness in my manifesto, which is the first one is to enhance the career week. We knew that career week actually already held from the previous tenure when it was actually physical, and also this year it actually collaborating with Career Week by ISD, IMSU. But then when it comes to virtual program, it's quite not impacting to the students because it's not like a two-way discussion, or it's not even engaging. So one of the thing is, I think what I suggest there in my manifesto breakdown is to help to hold an exhibition, a company's exhibition, if it's actually virtual lah. Because back then in physical, I believe there is like companies booth and so on. But then when it comes to virtual, then I think we lack engagement with the students. So I suggest the first one is company exhibition. The second one is enhancing skills. I guess this is like the common method when it comes to employability. But then our programs, most of our programs actually kind of like one-off programs. So it's just like you learn and then you are not applying. So then the skills actually like gone just like that, is it? So I suggest on the training program, which actually more like when it comes to training, it means like a constant program which you have like a mentor and like the permanent speaker that actually see your development. So so that you are improving and you are being forced to improve, because it's not just like taking knowledge and then the end. Okay, so I guess that there is two uniqueness in my manifesto for employability, which is training program and also online companies exhibition. Thank you.
Thank you for your response to my second question. For your last question, and also the last question for this section of the event, how do you plan on organizing and dispensing exposure and critical skills to KENMS students, considering that there are so many fields and industries, each with different needs? This is regarding the second part of your manifesto, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, true. I guess when it comes to different field of industry, we have like council in MSAS, is it? So council in MSAS is actually one of the important part in giving the providing the platform or providing the important skills in regards of for their respective industry. And also when it comes to council, I don't think it's just like merely a program. But then you can actually hold when it comes to critical skills, then you can actually hold a roundtable, intellectual roundtable discussion, so that there is like two-way communication. You are actually understanding the real situation in the industry from the mentor or perhaps lecturer who I believe there's so much lecturer actually really love to upload their video on YouTube about some critical discussion. So we can actually utilize the passion of our lecturers to provide to the students for their critical skills needs. Also, in my manifesto breakdown again, there is like mentoring program with industry workers or actually KNMS alumni. I believe there is many honorable KNMS alumni that actually are willing to and really happy to help students of KNMS to provide their experience to actually expose the students to real life situation in the industry. So there's two things. The first one, discussions, roundtable discussion, and also mentoring program. I think this answered your question. Thank you.
I'd like to thank both candidates for their responses to my questions. With that, I will now turn the floor to both of them for the second section of tonight's event to challenge each other's manifestos, starting with Neely Odsma to ask Mohammed Hamirul a question. Neely, you may ask your first question. Hamirul, you will have 5 minutes to answer her question.
All right. To Brother Hamirul, I have like the first question is that I saw in your manifesto, you mentioned a grooming session to help your the students' employability. Can you actually explain further what is the idea of yours is this?
So thank you for the question, Sister Neely. So it's quite shocking because the landscape of the StreamYard is different. Okay, so what I mentioned about grooming session. So grooming session might be quite unfamiliar for the students, but basically I've mentioned this in IIUM today, yesterday. So they have mentioned about this. So basically grooming session is a session where we will improve and enhance students' interpersonal skills. So as I mentioned, like Sister Alisa have asked just now, interpersonal skills is skills that require a person to communicate between people. So grooming session basically is we want to enhance that. But if we if we look at the reason why we need to enhance communicating skill is the unemployment rate among youth right now. So if I look, if I compare, if the data that I've got from the website, youth unemployment rate in Malaysia is 13.4 compared to other countries such as Taiwan is only 11.48. Taiwan also impacted with COVID-19. Malaysia also impacted with COVID-19, but why Malaysia have a higher unemployment rate among youth? So that's why I believe, as I mentioned just now, various data, various resources have mentioned that lack of interpersonal skills and lack of communicating skills among the students are among one of the big major contributing factors that will lead to this cause. So in terms how I want to reach on how I want to execute that is, first, I plan to conduct a training session that will act as an academy for the students. It's not only one off, it's not only two off, it's not only three off, but it will be a sustainable way for us to help the student. So we will invite a group of experts, perhaps from our alumni. We have a various alumni that have a various potential and quality to assist our student. Uh, so it is very important for us to have constant and regular trainings, because if we only do like one off, then the students doesn't get what is the meaning behind it. And then of course from the academy we can train them in not only in theoretical, but we can send them to a much more practical way to polish their skills, maybe like a competition, a speaking competition or business case competition, maybe like a debate So it is very important for us to do this. So who will be included in this decision planning? The first one is all of the student in KNMS. Doesn't matter either you are the final year student, either you are the first year students. All of the students are need to include in these programs. So of course, we cannot force them if they doesn't want to improve their interpersonal skills. Then we only offer this academy or this initiative for those who are really interested and can give commitment. Okay, so everybody will be included. Doesn't matter either you are local, either you are international. Everybody will be treated as the same. In terms of in terms of the platform on how we're going to execute this initiative. Yeah, of course, right now it's very hard for us. Maybe some of the students request for physical training, but maybe some of the students who are interested, but they are not in the campus, they are requesting for an online platform. So that's why I believe a hybrid platform is very important, because we cannot deny that a physical speaking is very effective rather than an online speaking. Because then maybe if the physical, when the situation is better, perhaps we can execute the initiative in physical as a permanent platform for us. So that is just a brief summary on what I plan to do in this grooming session. Perhaps all of the students are aware about these initiatives. It is not something that very unique for all of you. Maybe all of you can get a knowledge or an idea on how this initiative going to be implemented soon, inshallah. That's all
Thank you,
from me.
Hamirul, for your response. Hamirul, you now have the floor to ask your first question to Neely. Neely, you have 5 minutes to answer his question.
All right. Thank you, Sister Alisa. So regarding to Sister Naili, I have a question. What is your plan to empower international friends' voices? Because maybe some of them also need a good care. So what is your initiatives? Because I see no plan for you for our international friends. Do you maybe have some other initiative?
All right. Sorry. All right. For our international students, um, gladly that our MSAS actually have international secretariat, which is now the position is held by, inshallah, held by 𝗪𝗔𝗔𝗓𝗓, which is my classmate. Anyway, I guess international representation in a council or in a kuliah, I mean, is really important. And gladly we have one, and also how to represent them instead of just like merely handling international programs or cross-culture program. Is it? I I I do have some ideas on that. Okay. Um, in the international secretariat, I think it's good if we not only have committees from local, but then perhaps in every region, like Middle East, Asian, Southeast Asian, perhaps we can actually have at least one representative, so that every facilities, assistance, or welfare that we establish can reach them the same this at the same time, where it can reach them without discrimination. Some I guess international students kind of like the reach is kind of lagging behind, because our local students I guess they have like a better reach to kuliah and so on. So I guess to have like even vivid representation in the secretariat can actually have so that we can enhance the reach. Also, I guess How many minutes left? Okay, that's it. Also, you mentioned that it is not in my manifesto. I do object that. I mean, it's not object, but then I don't think what is in my manifesto fully only show what is in my ideas. I do have any other ideas, but not in the manifesto, inshallah. All right, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Neely, for your response to Hamirul's question. You may now ask your second question to Hamirul. Hamirul, you have 5 minutes to answer her question.
All right, okay. The second question I want to give to Brother Hamirul is, as a presidential candidate, I would love to know how you can make KNMS students as our first priority in MSS and also represent their voices to KNMS administration. Because just clarification, because we have issues, some unsolved and some are partially unsolved, partially solved. And will you actually stop after one no from the top management?
Okay, thank you, Sister Neely, for the question. That is very good question that you asked just now, because I believe that most of the students right now want to have good answer. They are judging for me because you asked a very, very important question. So, of course, MSAS. MSAS is stand for Economics Management Science Society, Student Society. Of course, the biggest stakeholder and biggest priority for MSAS is the students. MSAS should be the frontier who will ask and strictly firms and strictly ask the demands from the office. Every student needs also should be empowered, and that's why MSAS as a student body, at least MSAS is a higher student body in KNMS. Student cannot reach to anyone else. So if MSAS cannot act as a student leader in KNMS, so it doesn't fulfill the objective of MSAS. So first of all, of course, when you say there are a few provocative issue that may some of the students will be object when MSAS do. That's why it's very important for us to at least be strict on demanding the student needs. Of course, there are few student demands that are quite it's not like irrelevant, it's not important in the moment, but of course there are some demands that are very important in the current situation. When you say that, will I stop after one no? Of course, no, I will never stop. Unless I will never stop. Even two no, three no, I will never stop. Unless the office give and provide a better and relevant reason behind their action. Maybe some of the action, actually, if the students clearly understand, they will clearly understand about why the office do that, why the office did that. So uh, of course we have town hall, we have a various platform, we have our telegram. Maybe when the office do or choose one unfavorable decision that will oppose or contradict with the students' demand, there this is where MSAS should provide a better link between the office and the student. Because if MSAS doesn't act as a link between office and the students, that's why uh, the issue will be raised. Maybe the student doesn't understand why there are no lecturer names in the prereq, why we cannot choose our own lecturer. But the, of course, this is maybe like some of the weakness from the past tenure. They doesn't clearly state why the lecturer or the office demand to change for that. So that's why it is very important for us to create a town hall. It is a platform for the officer. Maybe the deanery office should clearly describe or clearly explain to the student and on why they do something. So regarding your question just now, I will fight for every student demands. I will put every demands from the students on the table of discussion. I will ask the office to at least have a discussion with the student leader. We will have a fight, but of course, if we feel the reasoning behind the decision is quite strong, then we will clearly explain to the students. I think that's all from me. I think I clearly state my stand over there, even though it's quite unpopular, but it's very important for the students to understand certain reason behind it.
Thank you, Hamirul, for your response. You may now ask your second question to Neely, as also the last question for the section. Neely, you have 5 minutes to answer his question.
All right, thank you, Sister Lisa. So, Sister Neely, as I mentioned just now, in my answer that you asked, the question that you asked, there's one thing that I'm very interested in your initiative. It is your town hall ideas. Even though it have been initiated before, it faces some problems that maybe the effectiveness of the town hall are not there yet. So how do you plan to ensure that town hall is a good platform and effective platform to students raise their concern?
All right, thank you, for the question. Regarding town hall, I guess it's actually a good platform for students to deliver their complaints and concerns. But then during this during this pandemic especially, and also I got informed that we don't actually held frequent town hall before, also because the ineffectiveness of the town hall itself. So how to actually empower this town hall instead of just like make it regularly? It doesn't actually give any certainties that people will actually come and give their consent, is it? So back to the root of the problems, I guess it's about the engagement with the students. First of the visibility, the transparency, the things that we both actually fighting for. I guess that is the first thing that we have to improve. It's maybe not fully solved, but it is the first thing to be enhanced, empowered before actually we held any programs, any events, any training in itself. Engagement is the first thing to actually make ourselves visible to the students, so that the student itself can knew the narrative we brought, the events we hold, and so on and so forth. So the first one is the engagement. Also, I think if it's physical town hall, it may be more get celebrated by students. But then some students actually prefer to be anonymous while conveying their concerns. So I guess we can actually opt to another options. At the very last, it's not obviously a regular town hall is the initiative and ideas that we brought, but then the objective is to efficiently gain the concerns and complaints from the students. If it's really if we really can't resolve for that alternative, then we can actually go for perhaps online help desk and other alternative that that can gain the students' interest. At the very last, it's the main objective to gain the student interest. So I guess this answers the question. Thank you.
Thank you for your response, Neely. With that, this adjourns the second section of tonight's forum. I will now open the floor to the audience for the Q&A session. Do type up anything you'd like to ask in the chat box, and remember to state which candidate you'd like to direct your question to, so that way I may avoid any confusion. I'm going to be checking the chat now. Okay, I'm starting from the bottom of the chat, yeah? This is Okay, I'll start from the top of the chat. Oh, this is going to take a while though. Oh, okay. So the first question I have, it is a question to both candidates. As we know, EMSS has already organized so many programs from tenure to tenure. What mechanism would you suggest in order to ensure the quality of EMSS programs?
Can I answer this?
Oh yeah, Hamira, you may go first. Neely, you can proceed
How
after.
many minutes is allocated for each question?
5 minutes.
For 5 minutes, okay. So thank you for the question, Brother Zahid. I would love to answer this question. What mechanism would you suggest in order to ensure the quality of MSS program? In my third manifesto, I have mentioned that the importance to have a data dependency leadership. This is when the data, we need to have that data-driven tenure. Because the demand of the student or the quality of the MSS programs only can be indicated by this data. If we can, because if we are not doing this indicator, then we are just doing for fun. We are just doing the programs, but we are not fulfilling the student demand. Of course, we need to have a strong data analytics dependency to ensure that the students or the programs that we initiate, every programs that we initiate is very is able to reach the objective of the programs. If you feel the programs are not important for the student in their future, then just remove it. We need to be strict about this because we are not here for fun. The students are not in the campus, are not enrolled in the university to have fun. The students are enrolled in the university to prepare themselves, to groom themselves, to have a better opportunity in the career work. So, yeah, can you believe if the students enroll in our university, but we are not providing them a good uh, programs for them to groom themselves, to prepare themselves. So whenever they went to the industry market, they will say that, thank God MSAS create this program. That is the objective of MSAS. So maybe yeah, that is one thing that I want to emphasize the importance of us to have the data analytics dependency, even though some of the students are not quite understand what is the importance behind it, but it is our job as a student leader to know about certain things that normal students maybe doesn't know. Yeah, I think maybe that is from my side. Maybe Sister Naili want to add something.
All right. Okay. For me myself, I think it's really good to have a centralized programs. I mean, for every secretariat to actually knew what is going on in MSAS programs, what is going on in the Almanac, and so on. Because I think when it comes to centralized programs, centralized, I mean by that is we are not handling too much programs, but then it is like big and impactful. Okay. Why? Because I think when it comes to centralizing the programs and events, or perhaps any facilities or welfare that we are actually trying to what do you call that? Make it visible to the students. Um, um, mm, yeah. All right. When it comes to centralizing, I think the narrative is like longer and more constant, so that the students will actually aware. Like when it comes to like it's not bigger lah. It's more like a constant narrative. So in a whole week, you will actually handle a program and facilities that are related to this certain field, certain interests. So people are actually new. People know that, oh, this week it's career week. There's also facilities, companies booth. I guess narrative and centralized programs can actually give more awareness and make it more visible to the students. So yeah, So mechanism is centralized and narrative. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates, for answering the question. The next question that I have is directed to Brother Hamirul. The question is, how will you help improve the students' interpersonal and communication skills? We have 5 minutes.
So, the time allocated is so huge because I've mentioned this during my previous question, my previous answer. So never mind.
It's okay. You don't have to use all the time, actually. Like,
Okay.
it's just, yeah.
Okay, so I will answer it once again. So basically, at least in my point of view, it is very important for us to improve the students' interpersonal and communication skills. So at least for now, of course, there will be future planning. We will have a discussion with lecturers or maybe with the students on what is other interesting ways or interactive ways on us to improve the students' interpersonal. So as I mentioned, maybe we can conduct a training session that will act as an academy for the students, because one thing for sure that we need in order for us to groom and to improve the interpersonal skills, by doing that constantly, not only one off, not only two off, it need a constant work. We need to work together. Of course, this cannot be achieved in short term, but at least when we create this initiative, it can be inherited by future tenures or future students. So at least it will be a legacy for the student. So at least when student come to KNMS, they will say the academy will be something that is people look for. Yeah, I think that's all.
Thank you, Brother Hamirul. Our next question we have from a lecturer. The question is, should EMSS request for a student representative from EMSS to be a member of the KENMS board meeting?
Can I
This
answer?
question, oh yeah, go ahead. Both of you can answer this, actually.
All right. So I believe that question is asked by Dr. Irwan, isn't it? Yeah. So yes, I agree. I totally agree that MSAS should request for a student, a representative from MSAS, to be a member of KNMS board meeting, because at least the KNMS board meeting is conducted for what? Is conducted to find a good, to conducted to uphold the objective to preserve the student demands or preserve the student needs, maybe like academic or something like that. So of course lecturer have a vast experience, deanery have a vast experience on this, but it's quite unfair for the office to have a discussion but doesn't include student representative in that, because at least student voice should be heard there. Maybe some of the maybe some of the lecturers are aware of the demands from the students, but who else understand the demand from the students other than the student themselves? So I believe that's why in order to answer Dr. Irwan questions, yes, I totally believe the MSAS should request to be included in the KNMS board meeting. Maybe that is something that we can improve, because the last time we don't have that. So maybe it is a better engagement if we can do that. That's all. Maybe Sister Naili want to add?
I totally agree with that, and also because Brother Hamuri is himself actually suggests on data-driven society. I mean by that mechanism. So it's really important to have MSAS representative in the camps board meeting, so that the representative actually can deliver the data, deliver what we actually receive from the students, and be the students' voices, and giving and also insights. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates, for your respective answers. The next question that I have is, hold on. The next question that I have is also for both candidates. What would be the first thing you do once you are elected as president? Inshallah, if you are elected as president.
So maybe Sister Neely want to go first, or
Can I?
okay.
All right. So the first one is basically if I were to be elected as a president, the first one is to actually familiarize with MSAS system and perhaps bureaucracy. But then the most important thing is actually to first centralize the society, the councils, so that we can actually improve on the whatever manifesto each of the candidates, I believe, have their own manifesto, so that we can actually see where we can actually go and how can we actually act as a student society. All right, that's all. Brother Hamira?
Yeah, thank you, Brother Rafiq, for the question. So basically, the first thing that I will do once I'm, inshallah, elected as president, of course, we will have discussion, a detailed discussion with the students' leader, and maybe we will include the office to enforce and to first thing first we need to identify what the student needs. Because if we for example, like if we just straightforward to the programs, even though we're not identifying the demands from the students, then it will be useless. So that's why first thing first, if I'm elected as president, we will have a detailed discussion with MSAS representative. We will fulfill and we will heard every student demands, and everyone will be included, inshallah.
Thank you, candidates, for your answers. The next question that I have is also to both candidates. How does your affiliation with the national political parties affect on how you govern and handle programs created by EMSS?
So I'm not sure who asked this, but of course, everyone have a different opinion when we talk about political parties. But as student society, it is quite irrelevant for us to discuss about this, because of course the MSAS is attached directly with STAT and attached directly with the Office of Deanery. So, and of course, I believe everyone have different opinions. Especially, of course, we are economic student. It's quite hard for economic student for not keep in touch with politics scenery, maybe like economic, because politics is directly interrelated with economy. So I believe everyone are professional enough not to involve any of their personal interests in the student society programs. So mm I'm not sure why they ask this question at first, because it's not prioritize the students actually. Yeah, we're not talking about the students. Okay, maybe Sister Neely want to share something.
I don't have much opinion, but then I believe both of us are professional. I mean, it's not professional, but it is professional. But the fact that we are competing for presidential seat, we are professional enough to know how to not mix things. I mean, campus politics is campus politics, and also national politics is national politics. There's nothing to be concerned on. I mean, if I believe we are both actually professional enough to know about this. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates, for both of your answers. The next question that I have is to Neely. As mentioned in your first manifesto, what actions would you take to improve the efficiency of the EMSS website?
All right, thank you for the question, Brother Amirul. Okay. All right, so for MSAS website, I believe it's really good if we can actually empower it to be a one-stop center. from welfare assistance, academic assistance, help desk, hotline, whatever we are giving to the students. I think it's really good if we can actually compile it to the in the website so that people are not confused and they really sure where to actually fetch for assistance and also other things on, because this tenure, I mean the former tenure, I think there is quite a bit much assistance. I mean, it's not assistance, but more like platform. We have like Curious Cat, we have website, but then not much. We don't actually promote enough about all those platforms in our social media. I mean, the CTA doesn't actually go to any of much of the platform. So to make MSAS website as a one-stop center is really important, so that the student can actually know where they can actually deliver their concern and fetch for any assistance in academic welfare. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Neely, for your answer to his question. My next question, or the next question, is going to be directed to both candidates. What would be your aspirations and your intended relationships between other Kuliah-based societies and IIUM-SU?
Okay, so I will answer first regarding this question. So thank you, Sister Arifah, for the question. Of course, when we talk about MSAS, we cannot move far from KBS issue. So of course, as KBS, MSAS also have the responsibility to have a direct, good relationship between IIUM-SU. As right now, we don't have any SRC. Right now, we are represented by IIUM-SU. So it is very important for us to have a synchronized information with them, and to have collaboration, hopefully, because our main objective, our main goals are the same, are to serve for the students. So that's why I believe IUM-SU and KBS should work together, because we as a student representative, we should prioritize the students and the students only. I think that's from my side, Sister Neely.
Right, thank you. For intended relationship, is it? I think it's because at the very last, all KBS and IIUM-SU itself, they are serving for student interests, is it? So our objective doesn't differ much. So if we can actually collaborate and make better services and so on and so forth, I guess it will give really better impact to the students, because for the more constant and longer, because of the narrative, the same narrative we actually brought along, because each KBS will bring the same narrative, and I think it will be much more impactful for the students. And also, perhaps we can actually learn from each KBS if they are for improvements and enhancement on our own KBS. All right, that's all.
Thank you, candidates, for your answers to the question. The next question I have is, where is it? Okay, here it is. Is also to both candidates. Do you feel this society really benefits the KENMS students, as some students are not aware of the presence of the EMS society? And how can you improve the benefits of the EMS society? How can you ensure that the EMS society will actually benefit us?
Maybe Sister Neely want to go first for this?
Yes. I guess for the previous, I don't know, I will not comment further for the previous or the former tenure, because I believe they have done enough, and also they have put effort on the visibility of MSAS. But in terms of the next tenure, which is ours, I guess both of us actually held the same aspiration, which is to make MSAS actually more visible to the students. It can be on engagement, it can be on the transparency of our leadership, of MSAS leadership. And I think it's if because we actually will compile data and gain feedbacks. I guess there will we will take that as a comments, complaints, and improve better, because we can't ensure you with like a solid solution, because we can't see what will happen in the future. The pandemic, also the physical physical learning. So for the time being, the idea is to increase the engagement and also make be more transparent to the students, so that we can actually gain trust. And after that, we will inshallah benefiting the student itself, because we are actually serving the student interest. So yes, that is for the time being. Brother Hamirul?
Okay, so good question from Sister Fahima. Of course, I feel that MSAS benefits the KNMS students. All tenure MSAS are benefits the KNMS students. All of them done good jobs, but of course there are room for improvement for each tenure. Of course, previous tenure have done good jobs, including because I'm also included in the last tenure main board. So, of course, moving forward to the next tenure, there's some room for improvement. That is the first part of the question, and then the second part of the question: how can we prove that MSAS really benefit us? That's this how this proof related issue, how we can prove or indicate either MSAS really benefit the students. I think the perfect person or the perfect group to answer that is the student themselves. So that's why it is very important for us to create a good survey, maybe like data analytics, on at least we know what is the students feel or their voice towards us, towards MSAS. If they are unhappy about it, we need a sudden change, we need a sudden immediate response. But if they are happy about it, then we will need to strive more, to improve more in terms of representing the student voices. I think that's all.
Thank you, candidates, for your answer. The next question, I suppose it's going to be directed to both candidates. It was not specified. What's your strategy to close the distance between international students and local students?
Yeah, maybe I should start this because last time Sister Neely already start. So, uh, so my strategy to close the distance between international students and local. Of course, if you seen one of my plan, one of my inclusive plan for our international friends, in order for us to close the gap, to close the distance, is during the introduction, during the orientation week, because the gap during the orientation week, we need to make sure that the international students uh, are assimilating and they can understand the local very good, in good sense. Of course, the online platform also challenging us in order to make sure that there's less gap between international students and the local, but we need to find something, an initiative, in order to solve this. So my first initiative is to have a better orientation week, because I've heard from some of the representative from the foreigner, they felt that the orientation week are not helping them in some way. So of course there's room for improvement. So we will attack on that part. And then the other initiative is for us to uphold and include all of the international students, and of course the local, either you are CFS, either you are direct intake, either you are Crescent Academy. So every students are included in our decision making and our policy making.
If I can add up on that, I think when I don't have like the exact strategy for this, but then it's good if we can actually identify what is the problem in actually closing the distance of international students and local. It perhaps can be a language barrier, or perhaps it can be the different culture we have. So to identify the problem first is very important. And also, Brother Hamir actually suggests a really good idea there. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates, for your responses. This is going to be the last question of the session, as well as the last question of the entire event. I have another question from a lecturer. Are you willing to choose a decision that you think is right, although it may be unpopular for students?
Okay. All right, I'll go first. I guess it's I think it's not the matter of okay, straightforward. My answer is, I think what is right for the students, and what is actually their interest on what is actually cater their concerns. Maybe some students may think that may question our solution, but at the same time, we're actually solving or catering the student interest and also the students' concerns. So I think it's right, better than unpopular. All right, go.
So thank you, Dr. Irwan, for the question. So am I willing to choose a decision that you think is right, although it might be unpopular for the students? Yes, I will. I'm willing to to go for unpopular decision, because I believe the students' need or the students' right is very important. Maybe some of the students are not aware about this because it will affect them in the long run, but it is the leader's job to make unpopular decision, even though, as long as it is fulfilling the demands of the students. Of course, the first thing first, I will propose all of the demand from the student. I will put everything in the table of discussion with the kuliah office. But if we feel that certain issue that are taken by the kuliah is correct, and maybe not understand, and maybe we can make the student understand about it, yeah, I will make the unpopular move, because if we choose to be populist every time, it will affect the quality of leadership. Yeah, you need to make a strong, a brave decision as a leader. That's all.
Thank you, candidates, for your answers, and thank you, audience, for your insightful questions about our candidates, their thoughts, and their manifestos. With that, this marks the end of the Economics and Management Sciences Society Presidential Forum. Alhamdulillah, this forum has shed more clarification on their respective manifestos and how they'd improve the current state of EMSS and the overall student body. I'd like to thank EMSS for giving me the opportunity to moderate this event, and all of you for supporting us and taking the time to join us tonight. As for our candidates, Hamirul and Neely, kudos to you guys for making it this far into the election, and all the best for tomorrow's voting day. I'd now like to open the floor for a photography session. Are we ready? Are we ready for the photography session? Okay, cool. All right, smile. Nice. Should we keep smiling?
Is it that?
Hold on, stay smiling.
There are no instruction from the photographer.
It's because they're all backstage.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, done?
Okay, we're good.
Okay.
All right, cool.
All right.
With that, before we close the event, let us recite Tasbih Kafara and Surah Al-Asr. All right. Thank you all again for joining us tonight, and I wish you all a lovely night. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.